Hello, and welcome to another episode of Todd Talk. Because when Todd talks, people listen. Hopefully. Now, this is a very special episode of Todd Talk. It's actually one I've been looking forward to doing since the announcement came out. It's time to talk Megazord versus Voltron. Yes, it is. It's Morphin Time versus We Need Voltron. It's awesome. And I'll admit, I'm a little conflicted about this one. Way more than I was about Venom versus Bane. Allow me to explain. On the surface, if you just dive a little bit into this matchup, despite it being, one of the most fan requested matchups, they said, 75 episodes in the making, that was true. Ben and Chad have been wanting to make this, basically since the beginning. And, it's here and it's going to be in 3D. It's going to be awesome. But on the surface, this doesn't seem like much of a matchup. And it's not because one side is technically more powerful than the other, though that is the case. It's more that these machines were built to do different things. Because you see, the Megazord was meant to, battle Reeves monsters who were very, very simplistic. And yet, the Megazord's been destroyed. But then you have Voltron, who is this combination of magic and science, and it just seems to keep getting stronger. And oh gosh, this really hurts because I love Power Rangers, and you're gonna hate me for my pick. I guarantee you that. But it looks to be very one-sided. Here's where I'm confused, because a few weeks back I could have sworn I heard Chad Boomstick say on one of the Death Battle casts that this is going to be one of the biggest fight scenes ever, which seemed to imply that the Power Rangers team and Team Voltron were going to be duking it out, and then they were going to do, the battle itself, or the Megazord battle. But based on the preview videos, even though they talked about, both teams, it seems like it's going to be just pure Megazord versus Voltron. And if that's the case, then Voltron's going to win. Now, you might be thinking why. Okay, here, this really breaks down into simplistics, okay? And I'm going to call call up for you to recall Gundam Epion versus Tigerzord. A match I was not happy that Tommy lost, for the record. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm sensing a pattern here when it comes to the Power Rangers Megazords. Okay, now on the surface, it seemed like a very even matchup, if not a little one-sided to Tommy, because the Tigerzord, especially the Mega Tigerzord, towered over Gundam Epion. But Epion was technically faster, even though the Tigerzord could match Tommy's moves, and yet it had the power of to destroy an entire battleship, and also had the Epion system, which allowed it to predict other people's moves. And because of that, Tommy and Tigerzord could not keep up. With Voltron, it's kind of the same thing, minus the Epion system, because Voltron is more agile. It can fly, which is something that cannot be taken for granted here. And if we're being absolutely base level, the Voltron Lions are way more powerful than the individual Zords. Think about this. Think about the original series. And I'm still talking, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Voltron 1983 series, the Lion Force. Okay, that has to be said. These are the original teams. This doesn't count, Voltron Legendary Defender. I don't think, and obviously it doesn't count the Power Rangers movie. I don't think, because this is about the base teams, the originals. Okay, now, I looked it up, and even though Voltron Legendary Defender modernized it, it still kept a lot of the original things. For example, every single one of the Lions has special abilities, like just the Lions before it even goes into Voltron. They have special weapons, they have turret guns, they have lasers, and they can fly. They can fly on their own with their pilots in them. And so the Zords, as powerful as they are individually, they're not exactly, what's the word? Monster breakers. Okay? I mean, think about like the first episode. Yes, they show that they could attack, and even the movie, show that they are powerful alone, but the lions are something else. The lions, I feel, are just a little more powerful on their own. Then once you get to Voltron, which can fly, which has a shield, which has a sword, which has laser guns. Even if you don't count, Voltron Legendary Defender, which I call Deus Ex Voltron, because it seemed to always pull out something to make it stronger when it needs to. Voltron just has a lot of power, and it endures a heck of a lot of damage. Okay, this singular thing lasted an entire series, whereas the Megazord technically died. And as we saw again in Epion Tigerzord, as they noted, it's tied to the morphing grid. And if there is a severance to the morphing grid at all, the Megazord's toast. Okay? Here's the other thing. The Megazord is measured up at 41 meters. Okay? After calculating, based on what they said on the recent Voltron Death Battle video, Voltron is 60 meters. Okay? That's 20 meters difference. That's 60 feet. That's huge. Now, obviously, they're going to scale it down so that it looks, about the same size, but it towers over the Megazord, and it can fly. Okay? Now, there is obviously some things that the Megazord has that, Voltron doesn't. As again, I'm going to keep quoting this one because this has got to come back here. In the Tigerzord episode, they noted that Tommy can summon the other Zords, which form the super Mega Tigerzord, right? Well, the Megazord can do the same because throughout the series, it got not only the Dragon Zord, which they could summon without Tommy, but also got Titanus, which added a heck of a lot more firepower. Will that firepower be enough to beat Voltron? I don't know. I would say no, just because, again, you got to think about it. Voltron was about space battles, okay? It was about space battles. Power Rangers, especially at the beginning, was not about space. It was about on Earth and, production values and what they showed and what they saw and everything. It can't fly. And I don't know. Could Titanus, the Super Tiger Mega Titanozord, beat Voltron? Sure. But will it? I don't know. Here's where the twist comes in, because I'm still hoping beyond hope that they include the individual pilots into the fight itself, so that they'll come down, they'll have a fight, they realize something's going wrong, and we need Dinozord power now, and we need Voltron, and then they'll fight. If that happens, the Power Rangers have the edge. Here's why. The Power Rangers are trained warriors. Okay, Zach, Trini, and Jason were already proficient martial artists before they even became Rangers. Add Kimberly and Billy, who got trained by Jason to be fighters. They're actually pretty good warriors, and they fight every single episode. It seems like against monsters and putties. They destroy every single monster that they have to fight. Some of them without even their Zords. And with Voltron, now again, I haven't seen the 1983 series, so I'm going off of what I know from Legendary Defender and what I have seen in clips and everything. The Voltron pilots, though they do fight monsters, and they noted Hunk was the muscle of the group, which if you watch Legendary Defender is absolutely hilarious. To think about, I'm saying, they're not as known for their individual skills. Okay. They're known more for Voltron. I mean, again, going back to Legendary Defender, it seems like every monster they fight essentially is, meant for Voltron and not the pilots, whereas the Power Rangers are trained, skilled warriors. Here's another thing. Again, going back to Tigerzord, they dissected what Tommy was as a Ranger in terms of strength and speed. they are sufficiently stronger than a normal human because of their gear, which means they can react faster, they are stronger than a normal human, which is essentially what the Voltron pilots are, even with their armor. Now, yes, they have skills and they have weapons and everything, but individually, they are just humans in gear, whereas the Power Rangers have the power of the morphing gear, which gives them enhanced abilities. Here's the other thing. Whereas the Power Rangers can summon the Zords to form the Megazord without one of their Rangers, whether it be Jason or Tommy or whoever, the Voltron pilots do not have that. The Voltron pilots have to be in their Lions for them to work. This happened both in the 1983 series and in Voltron Legendary Defender, where something happened to one of the pilots and their Lion either would not respond, it would not work, or it would race away to try to save their pilot to, eventually, to become whole again, for lack of a better term. And while this is okay, it devises one serious problem. If one of the Voltron pilots dies, Voltron can't form. That's the whole point of the 1983 series, is that, and even the Legendary series, that these 5 pilots are the ones who have to pilot Voltron, these lines, and to make Voltron. Power Rangers don't have that limitation because they're not bonded, I should say, with their Zords as much as Team Voltron is. And while that's a plus for Voltron because they have a connection and the Lions are sentient, that also hurts them because that means that if at any point in this death battle one of the Voltron pilots dies, Voltron is done because they can't form and bad things will happen. So what this really boils down to, ladies and gentlemen, is how grand scope is this battle, because they're billing it as Megazord versus Voltron, and yet they're detailing the pilots, which is again what they did for Tommy, but that was a little bit different. If it's just, this is where you're going to hate me here, if it's just Megazord versus Voltron, I have to go Voltron. Voltron is taller, Voltron is stronger, arguably. Voltron is more agile, more mobile, and more than capable of disabling the morphing grid. However, if the pilots get involved in a fight on the ground or on a cliff or whatever, if the pilots fight the pilots and then go to the Megazord, I'm going to say the Power Rangers win. Because the Power Rangers have more than enough power, have the better weapons, have the better skills on the ground as individuals than Team Voltron. And so if that happens, because you got to remember this. Okay? The death battles themselves, after the breakdown, once we actually see the fights, they are nothing more than spectacle. Okay? Meaning that regardless of who wins, we're going to see the Megazord or Voltron blow up. Okay? But how it's won can be decided on the ground via the breakdown. So this is where the key factors come in. If pilots get involved outside of their megas or outside of their mechs, just call them that, outside of their mechs, then I say the Power Rangers win. If they're simply brought down to summon the Zords, summon Voltron, and then they fight, then I say Voltron wins because Voltron is just better. And that breaks my heart because you got to understand, I'm Power Rangers. I am Power Rangers tried and true, 4 years old, watching it. I still have my Dragon Dagger. It's like right over there. Okay, I still have my green Dragon Dagger. I still have every single Power Rangers theme song memorized by heart. Okay, that's me. That's me. But I'm not gonna let my fanboy issues cloud my judgment like I did with Venom and Bane. I should be 3-0 right now. So this is why I'm going to divide it up, because this really could be one of two fights. If it's Megazord versus Voltron pure, then Voltron's gonna win. If it's Power Rangers and Team Voltron versus Megazord and Voltron, then the Power Rangers are going to win, because the Power Rangers could kill one of Team Voltron's pilots on the ground before they ever summon the Lions. And if that happens, Voltron can't form and they all lose. And that is my picks. Picks. It's cheating and I don't care. Okay. Because this way I win either way. Yeah. Look, no, look, regardless, this is gonna be a good episode. I really believe that Torian is going whole hog on this. Something's got to give, and I just, I don't know. I'm looking forward to this. I'm hoping this is everything I want and more from it. And regardless of who wins, I hope we all just enjoy this episode because this is one of the ones where the guys have just been wanting to make this episode, and you could tell that they're passionate about it. You know, they love the new movie. They're been watching the Twitch stream and all of that, and it's just really, really cool. So just gotta wait and then hope. Okay, look. I want the Power Rangers to win. I want the Power Rangers to win regardless, and this is why I did like the whole dual pick thing. So technically, I don't lose. Okay, but I'm just saying, in my heart of hearts, I want the Power Rangers to win. I want them to win more than anything else. But I just can't after everything, after what I know about Voltron, because I've watched both seasons of Legendary Defender, and I looked up, the original Alliance, and they have a lot of the same powers. If it's Megazord versus Voltron, pure, Voltron's gonna win. If it's Megazord and Rangers versus Voltron and Team Voltron, Power Rangers are gonna win. That's just the way it is. That's how I see it. Okay. So with that, I am ending this very fanboy episode of Todd Talk. Let me know who you think is going to win between Power Rangers and Voltron. And if you haven't seen the trailers, not the previews, the trailers, you gotta go check them out because it's really, really cool. And I've been binging the Power Rangers one. I'm actually one of the top comments. How about that? So definitely go check that out. Let me know who you think is going to win. And then let's just get ready for a war. 75 episodes in the making. So, I thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I know you were listening, and I will see you around.